So I'm going to be responding to It's Marvelous Life, the comment and dream interpretation she loved. For my recent video, first of all, I'm so exhausted. Why do I get exhausted as soon as I start talking? I don't know. I sleep all the time. I don't know. Maybe my spirit is just rested. I don't know. But anyway, yes, thank you for even, putting in the effort to try to interpret. And yours, there was only two people. It was you and somebody else, which I deleted their comment because it annoyed me. No disrespect to whoever you were. I'm just so sick of telling people that my mother is reprobate. And for some reason, Christians just find it so hard to believe that your mother could actually be a witch and a narcissist. And I don't want anything to do with that woman. So no, the dream does not mean that I want or miss or love her. I do not, and I'm not going to keep defending that. Do not tell me how I feel about something. Thank you. So it's Marvelous Life. Your interpretation, reading it, my spirit, I just got happy because I guess it's just relieving to see that somebody else can see what you see. Like, I know that that's what that dream means. Not even just that one in particular. I have a whole host of other dreams dealing with hidden covenants, curses, on bloodline, witchcraft, sex slavery, just a whole bunch of different stuff, Jezebel. I just simply have not interpreted yet. And not because I can't interpret. There are some of the symbols I feel like I want the Holy Spirit to like elaborate more on because everything is really not that simple. But it's just overwhelming. So I just end up not interpreting the dreams. I'm just like, I can't deal with this. Like, it's too much for one person to take on. But so thank you so much. You said, hey sis, the old house is a symbol of bondage, more like a prison, which it is. I made that connection as far as it representing a covenant. The devil needs a covenant and legal right to hold a bloodline prisoner, and your mom being in the dream is the Lord literally telling you that it could be your mom or literally one of your ancestors that established a covenant and sold not just his or her soul, but that of the bloodline to the devil. Two things I have to say to that. When it comes to my mom, that reoccurring dream, to be honest, I've had over the course of like a few years. So that's actually been a continuous thing. I just used to dream and dream, and I never knew what it meant until I started learning more about regression and some more details about like my personal bondage and stuff that I need to get free from that the Father started, bringing me into, and just watching Brother Kevin L.A. Ewing. So I'm like, oh, so there is something to this house, old house resident stuff, Now, so she's always been in the dream. And when I say years, I mean years. So it seems like the Father was always speaking to you through the dream. But the main two people in that house, when it is that house being like, reactivated, it is always me and her, nobody else. It's just me and her. So the first thing I want to say about that is before I left home, I don't know if y'all remember, but I made a video saying that the Lord showed me, he used Brother Stephen Darby. I deleted the video, but he used Brother Stephen Darby, who's passed already, as a prophet in the dream. He was prophesying about me to like his congregation. He was saying there was a girl who was dealing with this, and that, but she didn't know that her family was doing witchcraft on her. And that's something I kind of already figured out and suspected because all of the spiritual harassment I experience in my dreams are all of my family members. It's my aunt, my grandmother, my mom, my cousin, who is my aunt's daughter, who the Lord already showed me is going to get into the occult. I'm not going to get into detail about that. But these are all, I just used to think that they were generational spirits coming in the guise of my relatives. And I know my relatives are wicked, but I just kind of started putting two and two together. I'm like, are they doing witchcraft on me or something? Like, I just kind of, I doubted that one because I just don't give them that much credit personally to even know how to do something like that on a literal scale. So that's the only reason I doubted it. But it's with all the dreams I do have, and I just shared one with you, and you've already unpacked the majority of what I really am dealing with, and you haven't even seen all the other dreams. So it's always them. When it came to my word of marriage, my grandmother was used as a spirit, the dream telling me she was going to mess it up, that I wasn't going to marry him, which that actually did happen. Thank you for that. I didn't want to be with him, so thank you. But it's just the point that, the generational spirits, they're very much involved. But it's interesting that you brought up my mother. I wouldn't say that they sold their soul. Like I said, I don't give my relatives that much credit to even know about stuff like that. We do have Creole ancestry. You know, my grandpa and his family, his ancestors, they're from Louisiana. I wouldn't be surprised if it came from there, because most of my drawing to the occult that I'm dealing with is feeling that weird connection and identifying with Creole roots and stuff like that. So that wouldn't surprise me. But as far as my mom, like, consciously getting involved in selling her, I don't think it was anything that literal. As a child to my grandfather, who in my other dreams, the father, anytime the Lord shows me what the root of the issue is, he always shows my grandfather. In one of the first dreams, which is actually how I found out Jezebel was actual spirit spouse, because the Lord came with me in the dream to divorce her, and she was me. It was weird. But my grandfather knew about the witchcraft in our family, because I had this weird book, and it was like this weird occultic, mysterious. I don't even know where I got it from. I just had it. And my grandfather was sitting on the steps of his church, which is the same neighborhood, the same street as his house, because he built it. And he immediately told me to get rid of it, like was trying to protect me. So he knew something. It's nice to see that he cared enough to get it out of my possession. And so he knows something. And all the other dreams where the Lord is dealing with my generational curses is always him and his church. And I'm like, what the heck is it with this church? The church is not that big. The church is something he built. Like, it has no people. I mean, it's a dead church. The Holy Spirit was never in it. The Lord took me out of that church when I got saved when I was 15. So the Father keeps using that as a symbol too, as his church. And I'm just like, so as you can see, it's just kind of frustrating for me, because it's like I know what everything means on the onset, just looking at the dreams, but you can tell it's something I'll have to fast about to get, okay, what's with this house specifically? What's with the church? What's with him? Like, what is the details that I really, really need to know? You know, so my mom, it's interesting that you brought that up, because since me and my sisters in Christ as a group have collectively decided to fast for my deliverance and to get any kind of insight the Father's willing to give, he started cooperating with us from day one. And we haven't even started yet. So he's already given us dreams. Nisha had a dream of me being delivered by Brother Kabawachi, and some spirit attacked him for praying for me. She dreamt that. Then my other friend, she dreamt of me and my mom being in a bed together. And she said she didn't feel anything evil about it. It was just very odd that my mom was there, like an attachment. And obviously the Lord gave her that dream because he knew it was going to trigger another one I had. I think it was last year. If it wasn't 2 years ago, it was last year. I went to sleep listening to Brother Dan Duvall's prayer from, generational principalities. I'll put it in the description box just so y'all can know what I'm referencing. But I went to sleep listening to the prayer, and I could feel when I went to sleep that the spirits controlling me went to sleep. They put me to sleep, which is usually what I go through, but they put me to sleep. It was like they didn't want me to listen to the prayer. I felt all these weird shiftings happening in my mind, and I had the weirdest experience in the spirit. It was not a dream. It felt like I was just like in a different dimension, and I was in my mom's room just laying in her bed with her. And I didn't feel anything evil. It wasn't nothing too, I just thought it was very odd. I mean, I was just laying in the bed like your daughter would lay in the bed with her mom, but I just kind of woke up from it and I was like, why was I in the bed with her? Like, and once again, I haven't had a relationship with her in years, even living with her. I don't care about that woman at all. So I just thought that was very strange that I was laying next to her in her bedroom, in her, in her bed, like there was some weird bondage or kind of cord. I don't know what the heck that was. So you saying that, thank you, because I didn't even really try to put two and two together, is why there's such emphasis on you being with your mother in this dream with this particular house. Because I was trying to dig and go back to okay, like what was going on at that time when y'all were living in the house. And as I already wrote down, it was a great time. For me, it was a great time because I just always like living and having a decent lifestyle and having nice things. That was one of the two houses we really had like a decent life, So, there was no poverty. Like we weren't struggling with money or anything. I was about 15 or 16 years old at that time. So I'm just, just trying to figure out why the Lord keeps using that house. Like, yes, it is a symbol of bondage and a prison, like you said. There's a covenant, but there's a reason why he's showing that house. The Lord doesn't just do stuff like that in vain. He's not going to pick just any house. Like, no, it's that house for a reason. Or or at least what that house represents as far as that time period. You know, it may not be the literal physical house, but you know, yeah. So the mom being there is definitely it could have been something she did personally, since the Lord has been singling her out. But anyway, I just got all the way off topic. The dream with brother Stephen Darby, where the Lord he confirmed my mom is doing witchcraft on me again. You see how overwhelmed I get? It's too much. Like, I hear from the Lord. He stays pouring the dreams out. Like, yeah, he wants me to do something about it. I'm just like, it's too much to deal with. Like, I'm just tired. My spirit is just too freaking tired. It really is. Like, I'm just. So, and I think that's when I was questioning whether, like, okay, is she literally doing witchcraft, or is this figurative? Like, you know, when you say witchcraft. And when the Lord used Brother Stephen Darby and he gave me that dream, it was literal. He was basically confirming that she's specifically individually doing witchcraft on you. I don't know what kind. And there was like this automatic you know, magnetic pull. I went down the hallway to our home, which is the one I just left from, the new one. Went down the hallway, and it was like the Lord led me into her room, which it was completely dark, and there was a dog in there, like a spirit. And I guess the Lord just really emphasizing that she was doing something. But the way it felt in the dream, it was like he was still blocking out some information that if I were to have found out or seen something, it would have been too, I don't know. You know those, I don't know if y'all ever had dreams like that, but like the Lord, the dream is one exposing a lot of stuff, but you can still kind of feel the Father like blocking a little insight. Like if you were to really press through and try to explore what that was, it would probably be something really intense. That's what I felt. And I felt that he was confirming that your mother is doing witchcraft on you. She wasn't in her room for some reason though. She's in my sister's room, which is across from her room. So I got that confirmation. And I think the dream before that, where I told y'all the Lord had come to me, my most recent encounter, he actually came physically to me just to give me the dream and to deliver the message to me. He used this house again. So, and it was a mixture of two houses. It was this house right here, the one that I mentioned, the old one on Bruce Lane. The Lord was walking through the living room, and my mom was sitting on the couch. So there was emphasis on her again. And he gave me a piece of paper. And I'm not going to share what he told me because it's personal for me, and I don't want anybody else to know that. But he was seemingly confirming witchcraft. And if she were to find out specific details about his plans for me, he was basically telling me to keep quiet. Like, be careful what you talk about in public. Because if she were to find out, I could feel in the dream that somehow she was going to keep me bound to that house. And at first I was interpreting it literally like, you mean like she's going to actually stop me from physically leaving? I said, that's impossible. I'm 27. I've gotten up and left several times. So, and obviously I'm gone now. So it probably wasn't physically. And since he did use that house, it could have been she can keep you bound to whatever this covenant is. And I'm going to have to fast and explore what the heck this covenant is, because this is what I'm talking about. You can read all the prayers about breaking covenants and evil altars, and I've done all that stuff. I done prayed all the renunciation prayers, honey, and I'm an intercessor. It just proves that you can't just do that stuff and assume that something is broken. You have to make sure. You have to like fast and really ask the Lord to show you if something has been successfully broken or not. Those prayers, I think they're effective. They can be used as a tool, but nobody who's written a prayer book about covenants and contracts or curses and generational this and that, they can't just touch your specific situation and free you with these prayer points they put in a book. You don't know all the contents of what you're really dealing with. You can really only get that from the Holy Spirit, which gratefully he does show us these things in dreams symbolically. So, we have to seek him, have more of a sharp and open ear to his voice to really unpack what the heck he's trying to show you through this dream. So that has been my frustration. I've read the books, I done prayed the prayers, and I'm still dealing with this crap. So it's obviously something deeper. So yes, the Lord came to that house, was exposing her once again, and gave me that message that she is literally out to destroy my promises from you, specifically like detail, like relationships, like stuff like that. And he was telling me not to I guess be more quiet, be more unrevealing with certain things. And it was that house, and before that, it was the house, because the dream was a mixture of both the houses. It was that one, and then the one we just moved from. He mixed the two. So I haven't even written that dream down. I haven't, memorized. I just haven't written it down. So he brought that house up again. So I'm like, what is it with this house? And that was this year. The dream that I shared in the video, that was oh yeah, it was last year. I have a lot of dreams with that house. But anyway, so yeah, I agree that apart from like the general, covenant bloodline in the grandfather, is something with her personally that she's doing, which the Lord already exposed. I just have to get into the detail of what that is specifically when I fast. Yeah, the whole selling the soul, I don't know if you meant that literally. I don't think any of my family has sold their soul. I wouldn't be surprised if they're engaging in some form of witchcraft, which I mean, that's a covenant by default, whether you did one consciously or unconsciously. Even with my grandfather knowing about the witchcraft in our bloodline, in the other dream, I don't know if it's a selling soul situation. Somebody knows something, they're keeping secrets. It makes me want to call him, to be honest. I don't think he would be, to be honest. I don't think he would be honest because he's wicked. Probably would try to act like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. And the Lord's already shown me, like he keeps showing me you. So it's coming from you. And I'm surprised it didn't come from my dad. That's the one that actually sexually abused me. You would think the Lord would be showing stuff on that disgusting end of the family. They're all perverts. Well, not all of them, most of them. There's a lot of issues over there. But no, it's just my mom's side. I'm like, now that's ironic. Nothing on that side, just this one. So, so you said there are different types of places that the Lord uses in dreams that symbolize Satan's prison. An old house in which you used to live simply means you're a prisoner of a generational curse that's been going on way before you were born. Yes, that's true. The fact that you were poking, I need to write that down then. Because like I said, I knew the old house thing meant regression, or it could be something, that house could be representing that specific time, whatever was going on at that time that you're living in the house. But I like how you said that. It could just merely be a symbol of something that's been in place, hence the old house. It's been the bloodline for a while. It's still something with that particular house, though. I don't know what it is. The fact that you were poking, I kept saying relic in the video. I meant figurine. I get them mixed up. Artifact, relic, figurine, Jezebel, figurine, like an actual, like a little statue that you would see like in a witchcraft shop or parlor or something. And I've never seen that in real life. And after I had the dream, I was actually Googling photos to try to find if they actually had a picture of her like that. I couldn't find one. When I saw her in the dream, I immediately identified and knew who she was, but it was just something so powerful and intense about her when I saw it. It was just like, if you saw it in real life, it was like all the carvings of her. And you know how they have the Ishtar figurine, the little statue, something like that. It was smaller though. She just looked really, I don't know. I was like, oh my God, like, house, kitchen, there's Jezebel. It was like that. So, yes, the fact that you were poking the thing in the kitchen and ended up shattering it unintentionally is the mission that the Lord is putting in your hands way before you even knew it. Thank you for that. Because I had a brother in Christ interpret that dream before for me, and he said something similar, that the fact that I broke her foot, or I was the one who caused her without much effort to she just cracked. I was like, that was kind of weird, because just looking at her, it was a figurine that looked pretty strong, like sturdy. It didn't look like something that could just easily break, but she did break, and I wasn't trying to. I was just poking it, and she fell over, and it was just like the little stub of the foot left, cracked. And he said that it just really emphasizes she doesn't have that much power. I guess that's what she's trying to make me believe, whether it's over me personally or my bloodline. and that it probably doesn't take much effort at all to go ahead and knock her off. He said something like that. I don't remember. Um, but that's interesting to look at it from that perspective, whether that was something the Lord ordained before I was born or not. I don't know if I agree with the whole freeing the relatives part, simply because he's exposed a lot of them to me personally, apart from any curse. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind if he wanted me to use them, but, or if he wanted me to help them, but I don't think it goes that far. Yes, you are probably the one in the generation to be a chosen one by Jesus himself, because he wants you not only to set yourself free, but probably some members of your family and people out there. The part where you saw your old boss attempting to make you take your videos down is another confirmation of your purpose in this world, because those videos will set a lot of people free. You're bringing spiritual knowledge of what is hidden in the dark, and that's why they were trying so hard to get you to do what they wanted. That's true. As soon as you put your channel back up, you found yourself in that house. Why? Because that's when you woke the dragons or monitoring spirits up, because you began doing what the Lord wants of you, so they will try as much as possible to keep you in their prison. Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know how I didn't see that. You see how, like, this is why I like sharing it with other believers, because sometimes y'all can see stuff that's kind of like right there. But I have one friend, Paloma. When I share my dreams with Paloma, she has a gift of understanding too. That's why I really appreciate other Christians, because we just all have our different anointings. Like, I'm anointed with dream interpretation, but she sees something from like a different layer. And I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even see that. Like, it could be really simple or really, elaborate. So yeah, I guess I wasn't looking that deep with that third scene with the human resources. I just pretty much figured, like, when I've had it, like, oh, okay, they want me to take the videos back down. They're trying to like do an intimidation, tactic. But yeah, the dream, it definitely came about as a response from the demonic kingdom after I put the videos back up and made this channel. So that's funny to think they got alerted again. That's interesting. Um okay, you said how? By making everything seem and look just right. Clean house, food in the kitchen, mom looking great again. But it all manifests in the spiritual realm. Mm, I don't know if I agree with that part. I don't think that was really I wouldn't say that the kitchen part in that house was tied into the YouTube. I don't know. Something just isn't right about that. An old covenant, an old house just being refurnished, and that's not good. That sounds like you awakened an old covenant. You brought it back to life by getting back on YouTube. I don't know. That's why I said it was kind of contradictory. I didn't really understand. Was it saying you're not supposed to be on here, or I don't know. And I wouldn't say that, because anytime I have dreamt this dream, that's always the theme in the dream, that everything is exactly how we left it, as if we never moved out. Everything's great again, it's just furnished. So I don't think that's really tied to YouTube or what I'm doing ministry wise, because I've been dreaming that for years. It means something else. Your spirit is in constant battle and sometimes manipulated by what seems to be just right but ain't right at all. What do you mean by that? Why is it that Jezebel was in there? Because that's where your prison cell is. You keep turning in circles in the marine world. Okay. Whatever covenant the devil has with your bloodline, it was with the mermaids, the marine world. Yeah. This dream that the Lord gave you literally explains your past, your present, who they want you to be, where you had been placed by the devil way before you were born, and who you truly are and your purpose. Your mom is a representation of the generational curse. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Why the mom would be there. She's the head. or the precursor to you generationally. So yeah, that makes sense of why I still think it's something with her personally though. That's not a coincidence why she keeps popping up. Um, the house is the curse itself, and they have sworn that you can never leave. The Jezebel spirit is the main spirit, obviously, that you've been facing and will continue to face. Yeah, that lines up with the dream I had just shared with you, where he was telling me to be quiet about certain things because I could feel she had some weird power to just keep me bound to that house, and it was the same house, my mom. Her personally. It wasn't even a symbol. When the Lord came in the dream, it wasn't a symbol. It was her, literally, he was telling me about. So she's doing something. Brandy, if you give up, you've accepted the covenant, and you will never find your way out. I agree. I've thought about that multiple times. True prophets are out there. Just be patient, because without patience, you will also lose hope, faith, and love. Or lose hope and faith. I am losing that. Love, patience, and faith work together. Although you are in Christ, yes, you can still be in bondage. I've experienced it. And indeed, you need to shatter and pluck out the root of that evil tree that's been manifesting in your life. Don't cut down the tree, because the roots will stay under the ground and regrow, but pluck the roots and cover the soil with the blood of Jesus. Unless you leave that house and shatter the remaining foot of Jezebel, you will keep being miserable, turning round and round and feeling stuck wherever you go. Because of that curse, people will neglect you, lie to you, persecute you, and even manipulate you just so you give up. The moment you give up will be the moment you lose yourself. The devil is tempting your faith through all of this. Just don't give up on God. And you started begging. Please. You'll see all the tears, the pain, the suffocation, and burden will pay off in due time. God works with patience, everything at its appointed time. Let the Lord do what he does best and just follow him patiently. Yes, that has definitely been my experience, even in the past, and some of it I actually have vlogged about. Whenever I've left home before, I was always followed by my generational spirit. So I do believe that due to whatever the covenant is, and of course, leaving somewhere physically or geographically, that doesn't really free you. That's something the Lord already told me through another dream. You do have to take care of stuff in the spirit, because even if you prospered in some area career-wise, or I don't know, whatever status you went up to, the curse would just follow you there. And I noticed that anywhere I go specifically, I have dreams of me just being pursued by these generational spirits, just following me wherever I go. So it definitely needs to be broken. And that is them trying to retrieve you or bring you back to that place of bondage if you did leave, which that was actually successful in happening in the past. I would just always end up going back home. It's pretty pathetic, but oh Lord, this is too much. I can't even deal. Just have to take it day by day. It's so many of them dreams to interpret. It's a lot. It's a lot of them. But the other thing I was going to tell you with that particular house, the ones that I actually have written was a sex trafficking ring. And I've had a lot of dreams with Jezebel threatening me and telling me that she was going to put me in a sex trafficking ring and make me a sex slave. So the only other dream where I was once again on my grandfather's, his land, his little street. It's his house, his church. And then there was another house that was his, that we lived in when I was little, that he made into the church first. But I think the actual church that he has now is the one in the middle. And one of them is missing. I forgot, because I haven't been there in like a while. But the house on Bruce Lane that we're talking about now, that was actually on his land in this particular dream, where his real house is in real life. So it kind of like took its place. And Jezebel had like demolized half of that house. Like it was weird. Like somebody just like cut or like snatched off half of the house. And it was open to the church in the middle, where I then proceeded to go to my grandfather. And Jezebel was wrapped around his leg. He looked very comfortable with her. He did not care for me at all personally, and I was bringing him a picture with me. I don't even know why I had the picture with me. It was a picture of me, my mom, and my sister Sierra. That picture actually does exist in real life, but I was giving it to my grandfather, I guess, so he could identify with it intimately, or, looking for some type of grandfatherly reaction. And as I suspected, in the dream, I knew the Lord didn't want me talking to him because of the dreams that he's using to expose him in the first place. Like, I already know that you're submitted to this spirit. So I don't know why I was trying to, have this moment with him. And of course, like I suspected, he didn't care. And I sensed Jezebel's presence again. And of course, when I looked down, she was a huge anaconda python spirit wrapped around his leg. He knew she was there. He looked like he just didn't care. He was like sitting outside on some stool in front of the church. And to me, that just represents a covenant agreement. He submitted to her willingly. He's in agreement with her. But the fact that she was wrapped around his leg, it's kind of like she's marking her territory and showing you she has this one right here. I don't know if he did. I wonder what he did. Because my whole thing is like, the Lord's already shown me it goes back years. I'm like, so what is it about him specifically that, for the Lord to just keep showing him as the root for this Jezebel spirit? Maybe he did something. It had to be the way he was just sitting outside. It was just him by himself as like the head of whatever this generational curse is. The Lord just showed him. He didn't show anybody else. But ancestral wise, the Father did show me. It went back because he took me into the woman's house. Whoever my ancestor was, I was in the spirit. I was walking around her house like it was a dream, but it was like it felt real. I saw black and white photos. She had a really nice house. She was like a big boned, warm lady, like somebody that would, a Southern woman that would cook for you and treat you nice if you were a guest. And the Lord was just showing me around her house. So I don't know, what is that, 60s? I have no clue. It wasn't that far back. But I saw molestation because he used my 3 nephews as a symbol in the restroom when he took me there. And they were bleeding from their rectums. So they were molestation and bloodline, molestation and rape. I saw that. And I saw Jezebel, who was me in my old form, and the Lord was making me divorce her. So she was there. So, but yeah, it's something with, I'm gonna have to call him. I don't know. I hate when the Lord be showing me like detailed stuff like this in dreams, and then I try to contact the person and get them to open up, and they just don't even act like they don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So that could be a complete waste of time. But yes, the house was demolished off. Like Jezebel was angry and she just ripped up the house basically, and it was open. The living room section was open, and that particular dream there was cobwebs everywhere. Whereas in the other dreams, the house looks revamped. It looks, like it's alive, like it is how we left it, and everything's neat. But in this one, everything was cobwebs, like showing it to be what it really is. It's old. Like you were there when you were 15. This is an old house, So I just walked on over to my grandpa. He was at the church. Saw Jezebel. Tried to hand him that picture. So I know that once again, it's confirming it's something generational. He didn't care. Like I said, as far as her being wrapped around his leg, that shows a lot of different stuff. There's a lot of layers to that. She's comfortable. He's the one